So we do need to move along to the next question or topic, and that's about non-academic student misconduct, and it's there's a growing awareness that this is an increasing issue within higher education, just more generally, and of course Heriot-Watt is very much at the heart of that of higher education here in the UK. So, Carol, could I perhaps start with you, asking you about what measures do you think we could put in place to address that particular issue here at Heriot-Watt?
Yes, thank you, Mark. I think there's something here that probably there's a commonality in the discussions that we're having about the visibility of systems and enabling students to know what routes are available to them if there's a process that they want to follow, if they've been a victim in a situation, if there's something that has happened that has made them feel uncomfortable. They need to know that, first of all, the university won't tolerate any kind of bullying or harassment or any kind of incidents that's directed against them, and they need to know that they will be able to access support and that any reports are going to be taken seriously. And I think we have good systems and we have good support, but it's not always visible. Part of the challenge with that is that nobody comes to university expecting that horrible things are going to happen. Everybody comes with high expectations that we want to support, and so when something does go wrong, it can be really difficult actually finding out the route to take, and it could just be really difficult acknowledging what's happened and knowing when the right time is and where to go to access that support. So I think that there's work for us to do on just making the systems more accessible and more visible, and actually being clearer about some of the expectations around behaviour, because we all know that everybody comes with, as I say, maybe high hopes and lots of fun, and there are times when things go horribly wrong, and people sometimes find themselves in difficult situations where they're being accused of something that's gone horribly wrong that wasn't necessarily the intention at the outset of the day, and so it's a very tricky balance sometimes between helping people take that personal responsibility, really think about their accountability and the values of the university, that if we can actually work to respect one another and set about doing what we've come to do, life gets simpler. But sadly, there's times when it goes wrong, and I think we have got some work to do around helping people manage all of that.
Yeah. So, I mean, as they say, prevention is better than cure, isn't it? So, I mean, what are our thoughts about how we could perhaps work to prevent these sorts of things happening in the first place? Is there any thoughts around the group on that?
So, I mean, it definitely needs to be a proactive approach, again, like similar sentiments to our previous conversations on the other topics. I think exploring consent modules in some way, shape or form is absolutely key, and that is, again, same sentiments, that it's at the beginning of people's student experience, but also interwoven throughout student experience as well. I also think that our current reporting system is lacking, and that needs to be replaced, which we have been in discussions around report and support for some time now. I'm really keen for that to be implemented in the new academic year, if possible. I think as well, obviously we're talking generally about non-academic student misconduct. I think that also encompasses things like drug use, and I think that both the university and the student union need to look at how we handle student drug use and taking more of a sense-based approach to that, because that's what's been proven to work.
Yeah, good. Thanks very much, Georgia. And Dan, of course, sports role models are held up quite a lot, aren't they? Both in terms of examples of bad behaviour or bad conduct as well as good. And so, what role do you think the sports union actually has to play here?
It's quite an interesting one. I think definitely there's a part in there about education, and as a sports union, we have lots of mini cultures within our university union, so within the clubs, and there's fantastic opportunities there to set good behaviours, to set good cultures, and become a very welcoming and inclusive sports union, which I believe we are very good at that already. Small things, kind of like calling full time on initiations and making sure that students feel very comfortable. But on the flip side, if students are made to feel uncomfortable and feel that they're victims of certain things, that there's proper reporting places for them to go to. But like you say, sport in general has a fantastic opportunity to highlight, and to educate. And I think there's a lot that can be done around that subject through, like you say, role models and good role models, because there are a lot out there.
Yeah. And my sense is that we probably do need to do more of that, I think, is my sense as an organisation. So once again, probably another place where the Students' Union and the university can work closely together. Campbell, did you want to offer some thoughts on this?
Yeah, just to firstly agree with Dan. I think the importance of role models and positive role models, and there was a piece of work done about bystander intervention about a year and a half ago. We received some funding, and I think that was it's incredibly valuable piece of work about people stepping in to that space and not kind of watching things unfold. And coming back to George's point as well, fully endorse that. We're in discussions about how we embed consent into student induction before students arrive, and because it's about young people navigating actually quite a significant lifestyle change as well, but that also needs to be backed up by support resources and also reporting, very clear and publicly known reporting routes for where something occurs that people feel they're uncomfortable with, that they know where to go and seek support, and we're very responsive to that as well. So I think those two things go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And once again, it'd be fantastic to be able to unveil these new initiatives for the start of the next academic year as well, which will be our, I was very aware when we were planning for academic year 22-23 about this time last year. We weren't sure what it would look like due to the COVID pandemic. We now know what next academic year will look like. So, I think this is now the time to act.
Yeah, thanks very much, Campbell. And of course, we've been a recent recipient of the White Ribbon Award, and such a significant milestone for the organisation, part of the Fearless Edinburgh Alliance around the space. Delighted with our progress in that space, and I think that lays a good foundation for us as well moving forward.